Thursday night football, Green Bay Packers visiting the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. And finally, we get a good game on primetime. I mean, we have had some decent primetime games, but some are calling this the game of the year. Unfortunately, we got two key injuries, one big key injury for the Green Bay Packers, Devontae Adams, listed as out. Betting-wise, that looks like 3.5 points it's taken. Jake and I are back here, Mayflower Sports. We're going to discuss the primetime game tonight, Thursday night football. Cardinals, undefeated, Jake. Great season for them. I'll tell you what, betting-wise, I've definitely been against them a few times, and it's burnt me. And now the Packers find themselves with a few guys down. Should be a good game tonight, though.
Yeah. Honestly, Aaron Rodgers is going to have like 700 yards. This game just screams. It's just like, those games where it's just like they shouldn't win. Everything's stacked against them. And just, I don't know. I just have a feeling tonight we're going to see a vintage Aaron Rodgers performance. But the Cardinals have looked good, man. They've been a lot more well-rounded this year. The defense has looked pretty good. The offense is obviously flying. Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Rondell Moore, Chase Edmonds, James Conner. There's so many guys there. There's so many weapons right now. I don't know how I feel about them. Maybe we'll save that for a bit. We'll talk a little bit deeper in a little bit about each individual team, but I don't know how I feel about them. I know they're 7-0 or 6-0, and they looked good, but they've had some tight games. And just, I think the NFL playoffs are a different animal, but we'll save that for later. But what are your first thoughts on the game, man? I think this is going to be I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. I know Thursday sometimes usually can be lackluster, but that's usually, I think, down to the teams that they have playing on Thursdays. They obviously want some national attention for some teams that necessarily wouldn't get it. But I think we have all the makings for a high scoring game tonight.
Yeah, and Green Bay, they're 30th in red zone defense in the entire league. And what's funny about it is last week's game for them against Washington football team, it could have gone a hell of a lot worse. Washington, I believe, they were 0 for 4 in the red zone. It was a field goal game for them. If Washington even gets a couple of those, it turns those into touchdowns, that game's a complete different game. And Arizona won't make the same mistake the Washington football team made. They'll convert those red zone trips into touchdowns. I feel like that's a huge difference in this game. But I'm right there with you. And, I don't want anyone out there that knows me as a fan to think I'm being biased here. But I agree with what you're saying, Jake. I think that, the Aaron Rodgers effect, what this team is. And I know they're losing Devontae Adams, no Allen Lazard. We got to think about how many touches that's just being eliminated from the game, not just Adams, but Lazard now. But you got to think there's still so many guys that can get it done. I expect a huge game from Randall Cobb. I think he'll get lots of targets from his buddy Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Jones rushing plus receiving, he's going to do it all tonight. The funny thing is about a high-scoring game, you kind of have to think that it might be a dink and dunk game for the Green Bay Packers. And it's kind of hard to imagine a dink and dunk game with Aaron Rodgers, but I feel like that might be the recipe for success for them if they want to win tonight.
Yeah, ball possession, I think, is definitely going to be a huge part for Green Bay. Obviously, they can quick strike offense and score in bunches, but like you said, no Allen Lazard, no Adams. That's a lot of touches that they're losing. That's a lot of, I would say, man, if you know what I'm saying. Like, they're both big-bodied guys. Yeah. They're both bigger receivers. They both run well. They're both quick. So both of those guys can do it all. I know Allen Lazard was supposed to come on pretty strong this year and just kind of came on strong last game. But I think we're going to see Robert Tonyan have at least 8 targets, 8 to 10 targets. I think him and Randall Cobb are just going to be dinking and diming to them. I think you're going to see a lot more of Aaron Jones split out as a wide receiver and maybe Dillon in the backfield. We know what type of receiver Aaron Jones is out of the backfield. He can also line up out wide, and I think that just gives them another option to kind of be resourceful, I'll say. Use some players in some different areas that they're good at that, we might not necessarily see all the time. But for me, the big thing is Arizona. Obviously, J.J. Watt's done for the season. Is Jones back tonight? Do you know?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So they're missing both their edge rushers if Jones isn't back
It's a
tonight.
huge concern, actually, because a lot of people were talking about today, actually. Yeah, it's going to be pretty open game, and Rodgers will have a lot of chances.
Yeah, so like they're gonna have I it's tough, right? Because you don't know when you're missing like these caliber of players what's gonna happen. I know with Adams, it's easy to replace. I would say easier to replace because you do have some other high skill guys there. But
Mhm.
somebody like JJ Watt for the Cardinals defense, whose pass rush has been like hit and miss on any given game, to lose somebody like that without Jones back, it just makes it that much harder for them. And if you're going to give Aaron Rodgers all day, he can dink and dime, and he doesn't mind doing that. He's not like a Patrick Mahomes, say, where he'll force the ball into certain windows or certain receivers, or
Yeah.
he'll force certain plays. Aaron Rodgers he'll take that check down every single time if that's what you're going to give him, and it's being effective. But I think we're in for a really, really good one. I think there's so many storylines. I think both teams kind of need this, I would say, to kind of add some legitimacy to their season. I feel like the Cardinals this would be a huge win for them. I think a lot of the football world would start taking them a lot more seriously if they did pull off a win like this. But for Green Bay, I think you got to go in there and treat it as business as usual and just try and grind out a dub.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Jair Alexander. He's out for the Packers as well. So that helps support your case there for a high scoring game, Jake.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know, man. I'm worried. I'm worried about just kind of what's been going on with the Cardinals, man. Like I know they've been good, but it's like there's just been so many games where I've been kind of just sitting back thinking like if they were playing somebody else, like this would be a completely different game. Oh, we still there,
Is there
Andrew?
any I don't know. I think they're better. Yeah, I'm with you. You got me?
Yeah, we're still here.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, what they were like last year. Remember when they were undefeated and everyone was, making these TikToks on the Steelers? There was so much confidence flowing through their team. I think the Cardinals are a better team than the Steelers, but sometimes once you face that foe and you get into a spot where you might be a little bit too confident, then you can kind of see yourself downward slide. But the problem is with the Cardinals, I've tried to pick off those spots already this season, Jake, and I haven't been able to find that spot. I thought the Browns had a shot against them. They obviously had some injury problems before and after and during the game. But like you said, I mean, you listed it when we started off this video, the amount of weapons that they have. They don't even just have one or two guys making plays, and their running game too. Chase Edmonds took a huge leap this year, getting the job done, and he's been a great threat for them, in the red zone as well. I don't know. I think that right now, if we're going to take a look at our sports interaction odds here, you guys can make sure using our link, sportsinteraction.com/Mayflower Sports. We're seeing plus 6.5 here for the Green Bay Packers. That number was 3.5 just a few short days ago, Jake. So at the current number, not what we saw before, would you lean towards Arizona or would you look towards the Packers here at a better number, but with less players involved?
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? Again, I think it comes down to game script, and like that's part of the reason I find betting games are so hard now. Is like there's so many good teams in the NFL. There's so many teams that could beat anybody on any given week. But at 6.5, it's like, are the Cardinals going to beat Green Bay by a touchdown? That usually, like for me, like when Green Bay loses, they usually lose big. So like if
Mm-hmm.
they are going
That's
to
the
lose,
thing, right?
they're going to
Yeah.
lose big. If they're going to if it's a tight game, then they're probably going to win. So for me, I'm always going to err on the side of Green Bay playing it tight. You very
Mm-hmm.
rarely see Green Bay get blown out, but like I said, when they do lose, they usually do get, they lose by a touchdown or more. It's not like usually a really close game. But I just like knowing that Green Bay has somebody like Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, Kyler Murray's special MVP type season right now, but just Aaron's been there. This is what he does. How many times in his career has he been missing so and so or so and so and still pulled out a win?
Yeah.
To me, it's just like this is just Rodgers just pulling up to the field, just being like, all right, it's business as usual today. Like we don't got
Mm-hmm.
Adams, but that doesn't faze me.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, what the point you made about how whenever the Packers lose, they lose big. That's what kind of scares me. Is guys, let's be honest. Rodgers has proven he has that fourth quarter comeback ability. He can do it, But we've also seen Rodgers kind of throw some hissy fits and get upset. And when the game gets away from him, he's pissed. And then after the game, he's telling the media to, relax and spelling out these words, So
You just
that,
sorry,
that's
not to
kind of
cut
my
you off.
biggest worry, man. Like, look what happened with the Saints in week one. After like the first quarter in week one, that team was done.
Yeah. Just I didn't mean to cut you off there. Do you watch Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays on McAfee?
Not consistently, but every now and then I'll tune in.
Oh man, I'm so hooked.
Are you?
Oh man, he's like, it's weird. He's just a regular guy, and you just don't expect that out of somebody
Yeah.
like that, like, competitive, that good at what they do, like that rich or that wealthy. Like, you know what I mean? You kind of
Yeah. Did you see the part where he hung up on him when he told him to play a song for him?
yeah.
He
He
told
goes, all
McAfee
right,
to get his
1, 2, and he's
guitar.
hung up. Yeah, and like that's I like to me that's made me like Aaron a whole lot more. Like when that stuff was going on at the start of the season and during training camp about him wanting to get traded and like he wasn't talking, like that allows the media to paint you in a certain light if you're not going to defend yourself or you're not going to address things. And sometimes you do need to address things and you do need to stand up for yourself. And like that's what I appreciate a lot more watching him on Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays with McAfee is that like he is a person, he does have a personality, he does like things, not like certain things, he does address things, he won't address other things.
Mhm.
But it's just like the constant slander around that guy's name, and you start to like hear it if you watch him weekly on there. Like that's a point that I think he talks about almost every week is for somebody that's so good at what they do and for such like a good guy and such a normal guy, the media hates on him so much. They can't wait to run a story about Aaron Rodgers in a negative light. And it's crazy because like you don't really see that with any other star QBs. Like you don't hear that about Russell Wilson. You don't hear that stuff about Tom Brady. You don't
Yeah.
hear that, like, you know what I mean, about Patrick Mahomes, like even Josh Allen now. Like Josh Allen's all of a sudden like the NFL darling, but like we have this guy over here in Green Bay who's just been like playing his tail off for the last like 13 years, and he's just year after year there's a character criticism from somebody in the media, and I just don't get it. But it makes me appreciate him a lot more when he goes on and explains his side, because it's like he's really not doing anything wrong. Like spelling out words and stuff. You say like that, but like when you watch him every week, like that's like you just start to realize like, okay, like that's him. Like he's a very
Yeah.
like
It's like
thoughtful
spitting
guy.
chicklets, man. It's like exactly like that. When these hockey players go on, they feel like a million times more comfortable. Like people make
Yeah,
fun of hockey players for talking like robots. It's because they don't want to be themselves around reporters. When they talk to former
definitely.
players, they can kind of be themselves more. But yeah, it's going to be a good game tonight. We're excited. We're going to be breaking down a lot of primetime games now. You can find us on YouTube, across all social medias. Trying to build up that Instagram, guys. Reach us on Instagram, Mayflower Sports. Look, Jake, I hate to say it. I'm going to say this, though. I think that Green Bay hangs with them early and the game escapes them. I think that Arizona
Wow.
gets the cover. I think Arizona gets the cover. But I will say this, as far as a sports betting perspective, if you liked Arizona, you should have taken them a couple days ago anyway at the minus
Yeah.
3.5. So the loss of Adams shouldn't have made you like it that much more that you're willing to get 3.5 points.
Yeah, not
At
three and
this
a half
current
points.
number, though, I would still recommend it, but it's not a great play for me because it's just a lot of points. And most people that I know, as far as actual value goes, is if you're betting the game today, you're betting the Packers. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what I've heard around from people. If you're betting Arizona, you wanted to get them early yesterday or the day before that. But I still think my prediction, if I was to give out on this game, odds aside, I think Packers hang around for about 2.5 quarters, and then the game escapes them. What about you?
I don't know, man. Whenever we do these, I always get caught kind of in the middle. I never want to embarrass myself, so I never give
Welcome to
up.
my life, man.
I
Welcome to my
know it's
life.
tough when you gotta be definitive about something, but I think I'm gonna go the opposite, man. I think for a while the Cardinals will stick around. I think it'll be a tight game, and then I think in the fourth quarter we'll see, year 13 Rodgers versus year 3 Kyler Murray, and when the game matters. And I don't think people take into consideration, as an athlete, when, like somebody like Kyler Murray on the sideline, like watching Aaron Rodgers, drive after drive after drive after drive after drive, like trying to put something together. And if they are putting stuff together without their best player, like how does that make you feel? And like, what kind of pressure does that put on you to go out and perform when you have all your weapons, when you have all your guys? And I feel like this is just one of those games where it's just like, it's just a reminder to everybody, like, this is why people talk about Aaron Rodgers in the same breath as, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning without winning as much, because he is an elite talent. He might be the most gifted quarterback to ever play before Patrick Mahomes came around.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always hard to bet against Rodgers. If you're going to give me 6.5 points, it doesn't matter who's missing as long as Rodgers is there. I'll ride out with it. And if we lose, then we lose. Like, I'm not like, and I'm saying we, like I'm a Packers fan, but I mean more so as in like I'm always going to ride with them, especially at that big of a number. But just before we move on, are you still on Sports Interaction?
Yeah.
What's the number for Tanyan receptions?
I don't think it's popped up yet right now, but earlier at another shop, I saw over 2.5 juice. Then it moved to 3.5 at a decent price. I'm in on it myself. I'm on 3.5 at like plus 105 or plus 110, something like that. Yeah, 2.5 was like minus 160. So that was just like too shitty of odds.
Yeah.
I think Tanyan's going to get fed. I'm on Tanyan receptions, Randall Cobb yards. I think there's going to be a stat stuffer game here for the Packers, but it doesn't mean they're going to have success with it. One bet I really do like too, guys, over 3.5 made field goals in this game. I expect a great, amount of drives from both teams, but, at the same time, I like the over, like we talked about earlier, but I do feel like we will see some field goals early in the game.
One more player prop. I don't know if you've seen it or not, or if you know anything. What's DeAndre Hopkins yards and receptions?
Oh, combined?
Or just one or the other. It doesn't make a difference to me which one you pull up. Whatever's first doesn't make a difference.
Well, while I'm looking it up, I'll say this. Last week, I know Jake's doing his prop show. Make sure you guys check it out every Friday. I know somebody that had a pretty sizable bet, Jake, on Hopkins to score a TD against his former team. And I'll tell you, that might have been a pretty easy bet. Yeah. That's a pretty easy bet. And looking at somebody that, played against his former team, they definitely wanted to get him involved in the red zone, find the end zone pretty early in the game. And then you look at the score of that game. How many touchdowns there were. Hard to really be surprised that he cashed that pick. But let's try and find this here.
I'm just thinking, no Jair Alexander. I would say that's probably your guys' best corner. Maybe.
DeAndre Hopkins receptions is over 5.5 is what I'm seeing at minus 115.
That's a place bet.
Robert Tanyan's all the way up to 4.5 plus 130.
Ooh,
that's crazy.
4.5? Damn.
He's moved up.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, boy.
See, at that point, this is my thing. At that point, when you get to that reception amount, we always debate this on my prop show. You got to move from the receptions to the yards.
Yeah.
You got to figure out when are you going to play yards and when do you play receptions. At that point, we could see Tanyan get 2-3 catches for 45 yards, and then all of a sudden you're feeling shitty that you didn't get your 5. But we're going to be doing these every single primetime game. Make sure you guys interact with us. Hit the like button. Leave a comment who you're betting on, who you like tonight. And Packers fan base out there, don't be mad at me for going against our team.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a close game.
I didn't want to say anything, but since you said it, bro, that's like, I don't care if the Eagles are playing the Chiefs, bro. You're never gonna catch me saying the Eagles are losing.
Sometimes it makes for a win-win, baby. That's all I'm saying. I'm cheering for both things now.
Oh, that reverse juju. My boy's onto something here. We'll
see you guys for Sunday Night Football, then Monday Night Football, and we'll keep that train going. See you guys next time.